Hello, Chris from My Stamp Lady. I'm here with the Coffee Cafe and the Merry Cafe stamp sets. The Merry Cafe is from, that's the set here, and this one is from the holiday catalog, and it has little accents designed to go around the holidays for coffee. And some of these images come from the Coffee Cafe set and the coordinating coffee cups framelits. So right now, if you purchase these two together, you get a 10% discount. So this card is fun and a little unique because it has this kind of an opening, and it also has a little flap front here. So I've cut this a little bit smaller on the front, and then I have the coffee cup hanging over. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. I've cut my cardstock to 4 1/4 by 9 3/4 inch, and when I bring this in, I'm going to use my scoring blade, which is this lighter one. I'm going to push this cardstock into 5 1/2 inches because I want a 5 1/2 inch back flap, and then I'll just score that, and then I have 1 1/2 inches cut off the front. Now if you want to, you could always do it just full size and then cut off the 1 1/2 inches on the front, but I just measured it out ahead of time so I knew where I wanted that, and I have my card base. So we can set that aside. I'm going to take a piece of 4x4 Whisper White cardstock, and of course all of the dimensions and directions are on my blog, mystamplady.com. I'm putting this into this dynamic embossing folder, and it's the cable knit. It gives a feeling of sweater. It's 4x4, it's square, so it doesn't matter really which way I have it in there. An important tip is that this says, I put right on here that this is the top. It's important, this is the top. And you can see it's starting to get a little worn. So when you run this through the Big Shot, there's a couple of things. And one of them is, first of all, you need to use a Big Shot platform. You do not need an acrylic plate on the bottom, but you will need an acrylic plate for the top. Now here's the thing, this is as wide as my bottom, or my platform, and if it's not put in there exactly perfect, it rubs against the side of the Big Shot, and that's what wears this down, and eventually it could come into two. So be sure to put it at either the top or the bottom. So if you run your sides through, it's not so critical if they get a little chewed up. It won't break your folder in half. So you want to make sure that this is either going in first or in last, but it's really important so that you don't wear down that top. And then I'm just going to roll that through. Okay, so I have my really deeply embossed piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I can set this aside now. And this is going to just be put right onto the card front. I'm using a little bit of the Fast Fuse. I love the Fast Fuse. It's a nice strong adhesive, and we're just centering this on this top flap here. There we go. So I have that piece there. Now I'm going to go jump right to the back, and I took a piece of Whisper White cardstock. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I'm just going to put this down. Now this will be a writing surface. And then I'm using a little bit of the Christmas Quilt Designer Series paper to decorate the bottom part here. So I want this star side to show, so I'm putting down my adhesive here. I'm lining that up with the bottom of the Whisper White cardstock here. And then we'll just put that down. I am taking in, this is just a 1/8 inch by 4 inches piece of the Quilted Christmas, and I did it on the silicone pad so that my excess adhesive would just go and stay on there. I'm using the snail just because I don't need a very strong adhesive for this small piece. And if I got it down wrong with the Fast Fuse, it would be impossible to pick up. So I have the inside now. I have my front. This is a piece of the quilted ribbon that's also available in the holiday catalog. And so I'm just going to tie a little bow over here to the right. And just to help me out here, I'm going to grab a piece of, or I'm going to take a mini glue dot and put that down. And that's kind of acting like an extra finger there. And then I'm going to just tie loop the two bows around each other. Then of course you just can hold and adjust until you get it how you would like that to look. Okay, so now I can just trim off my excess here. And I'm ready to do my accents. I'm going to use 2 of the snowflakes from the Seasonal Layer Thinlits dies, and I'll place those onto a piece of real red cardstock, and I'll run those through the Big Shot. I'm going to set those aside for at the moment because I'm going to do some stamping, and then we'll run a bunch of stuff through the Big Shot at the same time. So I'm going to stamp my cup, inking this up with the Tuxedo Black, and we'll stamp that onto the Whisper White cardstock. I have a little bit of soft sky ink that I'm going to stamp snowflakes randomly over the front of my cup. Now I need a smoky slate pile of whipped cream, or a bunch of whipped cream there, and a garden green straw. Stamp that up. Now I'm going to stamp the cup, the little cup wrap, and I'll start with my garden green. And each of these pieces are actually in different, they're in different images. So we'll ink that up, the garden green, and I'm going to put this at the bottom. I've added a Stampin' Pierce pad. Sometimes with the photopolymer, if you're having troubles, that having just the cushion of the Stampin' Pierce pad or a like a fun foam piece underneath will really help get a better stamped image. And I was having a little bit of trouble, so I pulled that in. Okay, and then the Christmas and a cup of with green again. I'm going to add the holly up in the corner, but I'm going to wait until I've cut it out, so then it will help me decide exactly where I'd like that. So now I'm just putting all of the items that I need cut on my Big Shot, and I will be I will have to cut some things in a couple of passes. Okay, so I have my die cut pieces here, and now I'm going to go in and do that little bit of holly and berries here on the edge of my little cup wrap. Go, and some red berries right over that. And those red berries are hollow, so I'm going to take my Stampin' Write marker, and I'm just going in and kind of filling that in so they're a little more solid. Okay, so those are all my pieces. I do want to add a little bit of Wink of Stella to some of my pieces here, the snowflakes. So I'm just going to quickly go over the snowflakes, and the Wink of Stella dries really quickly, which is really nice. I'm also going to give a little bit of shimmer to my whipped cream. And I'll let those dry. Okay, so a little tip about my cup wrap here. So I cut out the cup wrap on the white that's stamped and then in garden green. Well, of course, it's the same size. So all I'm going to do is cut it in half. And let's put this over and put a little bit of adhesive on the top and on the bottom here. And then I will just line that up with it peeking underneath. If my sides kind of hang out a little bit, I'll just trim those off. Okay, like that. And then the top. We'll just add a little bit at the top here. The bottom here wants to just hang out a little bit, so just trim that off. And now I can put that right down onto my cup. Okay, let's pull in that background. I have a piece of real red cardstock that will just be mounted onto the garden green cardstock. Then I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back, on the upper back here. And I'm not putting any down below because I don't want that to stick to my background. So now you can see the base for my card. I have this little piece over hanging here, and then it will come down below. Okay, put down my cup. That right there. Put down the whipped cream at the top here. Put down okay, so now I want to get my snowflakes down. Okay, so I put my snowflakes up in the corner, and I did use a little bit of the Sizzix to put some adhesive on the back side. Any excess adhesive I just did rub away so that it's not there. And if it doesn't want to rub away, then you can use an adhesive eraser and that will help. So there's my cup of Christmas cheer to send off to somebody with kind of a fun flap on the front. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me, Chris, at mystamplady.com. All of the supplies are available in my online store at shopwithmystamplady.com. Thanks so much for watching.